Hi, if you're new to my channel, I'm Darlene Williams of the Higher Level Method. I'm a single parent of a successful married adult. Many times I'm asked, how did I do it? Let me tell you, it was not easy. But I'm not a punk, and I don't want you to be either. Welcome to my episode of Parenting is Not for Punks. Today, I want to talk to single parents about steps you can take to help steer your children in the right direction. But before I do, please remember to visit my website at www.thehigherlevelmethod.com. Follow me on Instagram at The Higher Level Method, and feel free to email me at thehigherlevelmethodpr@gmail, whether you agree or not with some of the things that I say. Remember, higher level thinking plus higher level performance equals higher level results, period. So let's get into it today. You know, social media is definitely a part of our lives. It's something that we definitely have to pay attention to, especially when we're rearing children. And children today, younger and younger, know how to operate social media. They know how to get on and pull up their games, how to delete messages, chat, do all kinds of things that we don't know how to do or that we're just learning how to do, whatever the case is. And social media has its advantages. Please don't misconstrue what I'm about to say. But we need to spend more quality time together. And everyone's schedule is different. I can appreciate that. Everyone's work situation and money, finances, all of that are different. I can appreciate that as well. But one of the things that we need to start doing is having more quality time void of social media with our children. You know, your child could be extremely young and not know how to read, could be a toddler. Purchase some books for your child with pictures and sit around with your family. If it's just you and your child, it was just me and my son. If you have more than one child, whatever the situation is, plan time where you read a book and your children read books. And even if your child or children, if your child is too small to know how to read, let your child sit down and read the picture book, even if they make up a story, and you listen. And then you set aside time where you say, okay, read to yourself. And they can do that out loud if they want to themselves, however they choose to do it. But teach them how to sit by themselves, read to themselves, be with themselves, and enjoy quiet time. This will give you an opportunity to enjoy some quiet time as well. Don't use reading as a punishment. Like if they're doing something, oh, you're misbehaving right now, I'm going to make you read a book. Because what happens is that you're teaching them that reading is a punishment and they won't indulge in reading on their own. Have them pick up a physical book. Provide books in the home that are age appropriate for them, and teach them to have a love for books, because reading will take them places that they are unable to go, whether you're able to afford it or not afford it. And not only afford it in terms of money, but afford it in terms of the time, because you may be working two jobs perhaps. So you don't have time to travel. You may have the money, but you may not have the time to travel, right? Well, books will give you an opportunity to travel and have your children travel. Books have an opportunity to give your children, books, I should say, provide an opportunity for your children to learn what other people are thinking from well thought out ideas. Also, some things that I've done is I used to have my son draw pictures, and he began to have a great love and appreciation for art. So I made sure that he had crayons and markers and all kinds of things, and he had to draw a picture of whatever it is he wanted. We would put it on the refrigerator. We would also send pictures to grandparents and aunties, because I only had but so much space on my refrigerator, right? So I got creative and said, you know what? Let's collect the stuff that he has made in school, in after school, in summer programs, at home. It just became a lot. So I would pack them up. I would put about 20 pieces in one envelope, send to one grandmother, put another in another envelope, and send to another set of grandparents. So that this way it gave them something to look at, it gave them something to talk about when they spoke to him on the phone, and it just made for him to be a happier person, and he got to see that people cared about what he was doing. Right. And now, in the age of FaceTime and all kinds of technology, grandma, aunties, and uncles can FaceTime each other and say, "Look, I got your picture. It's beautiful." And they can have a whole conversation regarding that. The other thing that I did is I used to take him to Barnes and Noble bookstore, and I used to let him run around the play area, and I would sit in a corner somewhere and read my book. This way I had an eye on him. I was able to read, do some research, as well as let him, have fun in a safe environment, in an educational environment, a bright environment, and it just added to his happiness. And then when his cousins came over to visit, I would take them to do that as well. There were times when we went to the park and we did things like that, and went to Disney World, and we took trips and did things like that. But I'm talking about everyday ways, and we for the weekend, to find creative ways that cost no money or very little money, that you can indulge your children. And if you start doing it at a young age, then they will carry it on later on in life. They will have a greater appreciation for books. They will have a greater appreciation for arts, because you can take them to museums. You can take them to, especially if you live in an area where museums are plentiful, galleries are plentiful. You can go there free of charge. You pick a day. I know that you can go to zoos. They have fees for zoos, but on certain days you can go for free. Make sure you just take advantage of free things happening in your area. And you can use social media, use Google to Google areas, free things to do with your children, age appropriate, on the weekends, weekdays, whatever your schedule is like. But look for ways to bond with your children. This is how you build a solid relationship with them. Also, this begins to create avenues of conversations, and it also creates an opportunity for them to feel comfortable talking to you about certain situations. I'll give you an example. Every Saturday, my father, because he worked 2 jobs during the week, we didn't get to see him. So on Saturdays, when he was off, he would cook a big Southern breakfast. We would sit down. My mom was at work. He would sit down with my brother and I, and we would eat. And while we were eating, we would start talking to him about our week. And we began to do this every weekend. Before you knew it, as we grew up, we started talking to him about serious issues that were happening in our lives, boyfriends and girlfriends, and some of our friends who, got pregnant as teenagers, and what his thoughts were about that, and how we were doing in school, or teachers we didn't particularly care for, teachers we really did like, people who now were our friend, but now they're acting funny or shady with us. How do we handle that? And he had a whole perspective on different things. And it got to the point where we just opened up to him naturally without any prompting from him at all. And he knew exactly what he was doing. We had no clue what he was doing at the time. But I have to tell you, to this day, we still have a great relationship with our dad, where we go to him for advice on all kinds of topics. And it started when we were young. So if you have children who are young, start it now, and it will become easier once they get older. Sure, there will be times when they can't make it because they have activities to do, or there's a family outing, or you're traveling, or what have you. But if it becomes common practice, they will begin to look forward to it. If you are in a situation where your children are older and you haven't started this, still start it. You may be surprised that they will welcome it, right? Teenagers aren't always abrasive and not welcoming to certain things. They're willing to try certain things, depending on how you present it. And even if they're not, sometimes they just don't get a choice, because what? You're not a punk. And you're going to put your foot down because you are the parent and you are going to create the rules and they're going to follow them. And if they don't, there will be consequences. And what is the key word? Consistency. When you are consistent, they will get the message. Because the thing that young people have to understand is that their lives exist because of you. Not only in the conceptualizing of their lives, but also in the respect that you are the one who works. I know one time I told my mom, I said, I'm going to run away from home. And she said, okay. I had a raised eyebrow that she said, okay. I should have known that there was some kind of caveat, right? She said to me, she says, you can run away, but you have to do so naked. I said, naked? She said, right. She said, because you don't own anything. So if you want to run away, that's what you've chosen to do, then you will go naked. You can't take anything that I have financed. So I said, well, what about the birthday party you gave me? And I got money from auntie this person, friend this person. She said, right, but the venue was my house, which means you didn't pay for the venue, so you're already in the red. We're back to square one. If you're going to run away, you're going to go naked. You know I had to rethink my plan, right? And you know it never happened. So what I am suggesting to you is give your children consequences. Let them make their choices, but let them know that they do not get to choose the consequences. But the more you provide things for them to do, the more outlets they will have, the more happiness they will have, and the more trust they will have for you, for their family, for their setting, because their home will be deemed to be a safe haven. Even though things don't always go their way, it will still be deemed to be a safe haven. It is incumbent upon you, parents, to provide this for your children. And please understand, I know and understand it is not always easy. We don't always feel up to it. But it is our responsibility to not punk out. I promise you, you won't regret it. There will come a day when all of your hard work, your tenacity, your consistency, your sacrifice, everything will pay off. I promise you. If you have learned anything or have taken any tips from what I've said, please subscribe, press the thumbs up, place down in the comments what your thoughts are. Even if you disagree, place in the comments what your thoughts are. Check out my website, www.thehigherlevelmethod.com. Follow me on Instagram at The Higher Level Method. Email me your concerns at thehigherlevelmethodpr@gmail.com. On my website, I have some tools and some booklets for parents to work on with their children, to help them improve their self-esteem and all kinds of things. We have a boot camp coming up for parents and we have a boot camp coming up for girls. Check it out on the website. And I will see you next time. And in the next iteration of Parenting is Not for Punks, we are going to talk about some very, very interesting things. So stay tuned. I got more for you.